What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? It is August. We are 7 days. We are 9 days away from football. All right. And we promised you that we would bring you plenty of football content. And if we're going to do football content, we're going to do it right. And we're bringing our man, Eric Mac Lain, coming in from the ACC Network, our man. He's always so gracious to give us our time. So, Emac, what is going on, my friend?
What's up, baby? Good to see you. Football is right freaking here, man. Week 0 this week. Like, I'm literally headed to Bristol right now. Maybe if people are watching this on Friday, getting ready for the season and just jacked up. And it's going to be fun. Obviously, going to Bristol studio, all that's great. But next week, Game 1, week 1.
Where you at? Where you at?
Hey, you know where we're starting. We'll be right there in Carter. Crazy on Thursday night, and then down to Atlanta to see the Dogs and the Tigers, and we'll finish up with Georgia Tech that night, and then we're sneaking down to Tallahassee on Monday. So we got a big week 1, and it's
getting
always
them freaking flyer miles in.
Yeah, man, it's always one of my favorite when we just jam pack it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, thanks for jumping on. Hey, so I would be amiss if I didn't wish you a happy anniversary or work-anniversary.
Thank you.
Congrats today as we film this on 8/22. It is the 5th year anniversary of the ACC Network. One of the first hires from the channel. Give me some thoughts about the ACC Network. Like, what is your? Let me do it this way. What's your most memorable moment so far from the ACC Network?
Wolfpack fans are going to love this. I just did kind of my top memories and things like that when we did a show the other day. And you know what really it is? That interaction with Coach Dave Doran after beating my freaking Tigers with the cigar and the red Solo Cup. And I should have got one. I have.
We're going to get it right next year. We'll get it right next year.
Yeah, that's right. I've got one somewhere that he signed for me. It's so funny. But, he's such a great dude. And at the end of the day, he was an entertainer that night. And that was one of my favorite things that happened. It was so cool.
I think that's one of the most things that Wolfpack Nation appreciates about you. And then Kelly, when you guys are doing your podcast, and you guys are so favorable. And you guys are very, you guys do such a great job talking to the fans. And you're not like, we know you both are Clemson Tigers through and through, but you keep it 100, if you will.
That's right. No doubt.
And that's real important. And we appreciate you for that. But, so I want to kind of just jump down into the state of the ACC. And, you were at the ACC Media Days, I guess it was about a month ago now at this point. All the dog days kind of run together. But
that's right.
You were talking there, one of the segments that 6 teams can legitimately take a claim to the ACC championship. Do you believe that when you say that? Is that just talk, or do you really believe that? Because I believe it. I honestly believe it.
Yeah. I think the way that it is 6 teams that I wouldn't be shocked if they made it to the championship, but there's probably 4 that I think could really win it, that I could really see making it happen and taking that dub. And I mean, when the heck have we ever been able to say that, Greg? I mean, you've probably been watching this thing way longer than I have.
It's been like 2 teams.
I don't know if there's a time. Right. Always. It's always that way. Mm-hmm. Maybe 3 if we're lucky. Maybe a 3rd. And then they kind of disappear, right? Like, it's never a close race for whatever reason. And so for me, man, that gets me really excited and really jacked up, because another thing, kind of that goes hand in hand with that, NC State, Clemson, Florida State, Miami, Virginia Tech have never been good at the same time. Mm-hmm. Right. And we need that. We need that to happen. And I think it can. I absolutely think it can this year. And so that will be the really fun part. If we look up in December and, man, we've got 3, maybe 4, 9, 10 win teams, look out, man. I mean, because it's going to be really, really cool. And I don't think that's far-fetched at all to talk about that, to see that happening, especially with some of the way that these schedules shake out and just guys missing each other, right? That's just, it's nice timing, for the way that it's happening. So the sustainability will be the next question. Do we come into next season thinking the same, or was this kind of, our lunar eclipse, we're feeling really good, let's take advantage of it type deal?
Right.
Because I know the consistency is going to be, the piece that either keeps us where we want to be and more, or do we keep kind of, falling or changing and get back to a 2-team league?
Wolfpack Nation, I want to interrupt this interview real quick, tell you about an amazing new sponsor that we have, an Oconee Gold small batch barbecue y'all, who makes amazing barbecue sauces, an amazing dry rub, and has some awesome merchandise as well. Whether you're just a basic barbecue sauce lover, or whether you like more of a buffalo-based barbecue sauce, where you like mustard-based, vinegar-based, spicy, dry rub, you name it, go to their website, www.oconeegoldbarbecuesauces.com, and use the coupon code Tuffy Talk to get 15% off your entire order here today. And if your purchase is over $99, you also get free shipping as well, y'all. So again, make sure to go check out our new sponsor, Oconee Gold Small Batch Barbecue. Get all of the barbecue sauces you need, that amazing dry rub, your merchandise, and get all set for this amazing football season that's about to take place. Go Pack, y'all.
Yeah, we're finally starting to get what we had hoped for when we signed up all these teams, all these years ago, right? The Virginia Techs, the Miamis, the Louisvilles. We just need Syracuse and Pitt to kind of come along a little bit. But
hey, maybe Syracuse this year. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
That's a
like
wild
roster.
card.
Yeah,
like that's an interesting one. That's a trap game for me for NC State when we have them later in the year. But so speaking of that, that prestige, we want to be that prestige conference, and the perception isn't quite there. If you go back to the banner at ACC Media Days, it says, toughest non-conference schedule in the country. And, the ACC kind of having to crawl and scratch to get some, I don't want to use the word relevancy because they are, a top 4 league, but just the respect, right? Put that respect on my name. You have, SEC Network with Paul Feinbaum, and he, waves the flag for that conference. And I guess the better question is, how does the ACC then compete from a talking head standpoint? Like, does the ACC need one of those people to kind of not contradict, but just kind of be a rival to what they're doing over there?
I think the interesting thing, what does that mean to you? If the ACC had a Paul Feinbaum type figure, what does that mean? Is that someone who is attacking its own teams, attacking other conferences' teams? Is that someone that is placed on, Get Up and First Take and all these other, different things? Which part of it? And if it's all of it, then 1,000%. I think that, it's something where, I can be the smartest analyst in the world. EJ can be the smartest analyst in the world. Mark Packer can be the greatest host. But if there's not a ton of, other show opportunities, limited people are going to hear and know about it. You know what I mean? Yeah. At the end of the day, that's how we continue to grow it. And we've this year, I just was on College Football Live earlier this week. EJ will have his Sports Center hits that like he has throughout the entire, process of this 5-year journey. But how do we make more? How do we continue to, just number one, spread the ACC awareness on other shows, but also two, I think what really will solve that and what will help that is the like you said, the relevancy of the conference.
Win, right?
Winning solves everything. If NC State goes out and beats Tennessee, like we think and hope and know could happen, you give me more ground to stand on. If Clemson beats Georgia, first of all, I'll be unmanageable. So just look out.
I'll send you a condolence card.
Right. But secondly, it gives us better ground to stand on. If Miami beats the heck out of Florida like we think they can, it gives us something to stand on. Now, if we lose all 3, it's over. It's over. It's basketball season. It'll be a very uphill battle, for us if we lose all 3 of those. So that's kind of the roundabout thing. Do I wish that we had more opportunity? Absolutely. And could talk about our league on different platforms. But we just, we got to give them reason to want to talk about us. And if fair, not fair, however you want to look at it, that's the hand that we're dealt. And, we're going to do the best that we can to, continue to lift this league up. I think the interesting thing about us and Greg, you've told me this before, and I'm sure you feel this way. We're not attacking anybody, right? Like we're not criticizing these young men who are, kids at the end of the day playing this game or, going after these coaches, unless it's something that's just deserved. I mean, there's certainly instances, but I'm not just going to say things to hope that it makes Instagram or hope that it's some clickable thing somewhere. I'm going to give you honest evaluation, truthful from someone who's been there, done that a lot and at a very high level. So that's always kind of my thing. And, if some people want to listen to it, some people don't, I get it. But at the end of the day, that's how we're going to handle our business.
Yeah. And I think that's the always taking the higher road. And I get it. Like, it's all for entertainment purposes at the end of the day. Because if you just come out and give the same take over and over again, who's going to watch that? Right. It just like, hey, did you see that again? Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. So does the expansion for SMU and Cal and Stanford, those markets, do you think that gives us, obviously it's potential more eyeballs. That's a whole different segment of the country that probably doesn't know an NC State. Obviously now we had that run this past year. I think more eyes have seen NC State, with all the success we had. But we had a guy on the baseball team, Carson Falskin. He was from California. His parents had never heard of NC, or his mom had never heard of NC State, never from California. So I'm hoping, that those things will, open up the eyes of the league. But give me, all right, week 0 coming up, Dublin, Ireland, Florida State, Georgia Tech. Somehow Georgia Tech pulls the upset. What happens? Is our league back to that league stinks?
Yeah, potentially, right? And that's the that's one of the things. It is, man. It really is, and it stinks that you're there because Georgia Tech's a really good team, right? And what's interesting, kind of similarly to Louisville. Louisville might have a better team this year, but I don't think they're making it to the ACC championship. I don't think they're winning 10 games.
Georgia Tech's schedule is brutal.
It's horrific. It's horrific. And compared to last year, so is Louisville's. I mean, these guys Georgia Tech plays a really, really tough schedule, but it's game 1, week 0 in another continent. All these factors coming in. And I think people will relish in that moment, outside of our league, obviously, in our network.
Can you imagine? We told you they stunk.
Yeah. Yeah. So I hope not. But
selfishly,
we'll see.
I'm rooting for Georgia Tech.
And again, it's hard because I'm not rooting for either team, right? But there's certainly an outcome that is better for the league. And it's crazy to sit here and say that. But I promise you, there's a world where Georgia Tech wins. And I don't think it's that far-fetched at all.
I don't either.
For them to get that victory.
I don't. All right. I'm going to do this to you because every year you do it to yourself. Do you believe in the U?
I do believe in the U. And I'll tell you what, it makes them so different to me this year that I don't remember the last time they've had it. Probably when they were winning national championships. They have a dynamic quarterback, a guy that can make a ton of different plays with his legs, with his arm. And when we've seen him do it before at obviously a much lower level at Incarnate World. You get up to Power 5 football at Washington State, but now the dudes that he's going to have around him, the protection, the cast of characters that he'll be throwing the ball to and have running it are far superior to anything he's ever had. And I think that's only going to elevate his game, right, to a whole another level and be able to really flourish, within this offense, within this system with these playmakers. The second thing is this offensive line is disgusting. I mean, they are huge, nasty, understand the objective. That they legitimately, to me, could play bully ball every single game, punch you right in the face, run the ball 40 times a game, and probably win. I mean, that's the type of offensive line, the type of talent that I kind of see there that they have. Jalen Rivers at left tackle. I mean, that guy might play his way into the first round this year. He's so big, great finesse, but also great power, smart dude, great kid, all those different things. Side to side, I mean, it's like 6'5", 340 is the average for that offensive line. I mean, that offensive line is
ridiculous.
They're crazy. And so then the third piece of this kind of elite triangle is the defensive line. They're loaded, man. They should be able to control every game, both lines of scrimmage, and then on top of having a dynamic quarterback. So that to me is the biggest differentiator. Why I think that they will be successful. And even
you forgot the X factor.
What's that? What's the X factor?
Coach Cristobal.
Okay, let's go. He's good. He's good. Just run the ball. Hopefully it's not close. We don't have to worry about it. I hear you though. But also their schedule, man. It's
favorable.
Not crazy. It's not crazy. It's very favorable. So I'm definitely buying the Canes, and I think their number's 10.5. Maybe the over is high. Well within play. It's a huge number, but I like it.
So speaking of dark horses in this league, and it's a newcomer, SMU. They're getting some love.
Yeah.
They've got you got from where Clemson guy there with Lashley. Do they have the horses? Like, do they have enough horses? Because I'm just, they're coming from that group of 5. Is their talent deep enough? That roster, because their ones are good, but can they sustain something?
Right.
Unlike some of these other teams.
And before we get going back into this amazing interview, we want to take a quick second and tell you about Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 different offices throughout Eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their website at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
Yeah, always an interesting thing when you make that transition, right? And I think with SMU, the bigger thing to me is the depth on the offensive line. Like, I think, like you just said, their ones are really good, and I feel pretty, strongly about them. But when we get to week 10 and all 5 starters aren't there, what does it look like? When we get to week 7, whatever it is, like we kind of see with Syracuse, like we kind of see with Wake Forest, some of those teams that are really, really good with their ones, but then when the ones aren't available, what's there? And a lot of guys that aren't quite yet developed and things of that nature. So that may be where they are right now. Skill-wise, no issues. I mean, they might have the best receiving core in the league. I mean, NC State, Miami, SMU kind of battling it out, for number 1. And who knows, at a revolving door each week, maybe those guys just kind of, transition and rotate out for who's the number 1 team. They have unbelievable depth there. I mean, 8 guys that they feel really good about, including your tight end there, who I think is a monster, and RJ Maryland. Preston Stone, really, really good. Doesn't have like a kind of a rocket launcher type arm, big time cannon, but really good distributor. Maybe pretty similar to Grayson McCall, the way that he's going to get the ball out, be able to just facilitate, be a point guard and get it to his guys. Then they added, Smith from Miami from a year ago, who was the specialist of the year. He's going to be just an all-purpose Swiss Army knife, running back, wide receiver, return specialist, all that. And then defensively, secondary will be interesting to see. I think they need to kind of pick up some slack there, specifically at the corner position. But linebacker, they've got really good guys they like a ton. Defensive line, they were number 2 in the country in sacks, and I think like number 6 or 7 in tackles for loss. So they're causing chaos. They're getting in the backfield. Now, of course, it will be big boy football every single game. And, how does that defensive line hold up? But I feel good about them. I think they're, Louisville and SMU, I keep rotating who I think is kind of the 6th team. Recently, though, it's been, the SMU. I've got them at the 6th spot, and that would be a crazy finish. Let me just tell you this too, brother. If they win 8 or more games this year in the league, they will explode. They have so much money there. They have so many people who are just waiting, right? Mm-hmm. They're just like, here's some, which is a ton. Here's some, go win, and okay, we'll back up the Brinks truck. And
there was a reason. Oh, I'm sorry.
Dude, they can buy whatever they want team-wise. I mean, NIL, go get them. Whoever you want to get.
Yeah, there was a reason why they didn't take much money from the ACC to
hey,
come in.
Good. We're good, boys.
Yeah, we'll figure this out. We're
it's crazy. I remember seeing some quote of, what are we missing? Oh, it's just $300 million. No big deal. I'm like, dang, dude, come on.
Yeah, I would be really curious to see, because they have their stadium, and it's not a very old stadium by any standards. Right. Like I'm curious to see what they do in the future. Sure. Because I don't know how expandable it is or whatever. But
probably just go up. I would bet they go up and probably do like suites or something like that. I don't think they're, that's kind of the name of the game, man. It's all about that premium seating.
Yeah, I think they're just itching to get back to those old days of the Pony Express.
Oh, no question.
Just like back to them glory days. So if you have them at 6, is that considered a dark horse for you then to make it to the ACC championship? Is that your breaking point there?
I think so. I think so. Really just number one, because of the situation, the fact that this is their first year up. Yeah. I think, but you go on a bigger national scale, and you're talking dark horse. I mean, Virginia Tech could easily fit that, kind of.
So what do you have
mold
Virginia
there.
Tech at? You have them about what, 5?
They're
4?
at 5. They're at
Okay.
5. They're right behind y'all. I have y'all at 4. I have Miami 1, Clemson 2, FSU 3, you guys 4. And again, interchangeable. Like it's right now, especially with preseason. I think y'all sleepwalk to 10 wins, which probably putting you
we'll definitely get
number
into
2
that.
spot, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it is going to be really interesting to see. But the Hokies just have so much coming back. I mean, number one, production wise,
they have like 22 starters coming back. I think it was
something crazy like that. Yeah,
something.
I mean,
ridiculous.
it's absurd. But just so many statistically wise. You get Allie Jennings back at the wide receiver position. We know what he can be. And your quarterback's going into year 2 as a starter.
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
Take another step, right?
Yeah,
and then
I
Brent
think
Pry with his second season now.
Right. Third. I think the biggest thing is, for Kyron is that short to intermediate. Deep ball is sweet. He's got that running it. He's electric. But if he can just kind of control it a little better, be a little more accurate, he's kind of got like young Taj Boyd vibes to me, which is interesting.
Yeah, amazing. You would bring up a Clemson reference. So speaking of your Tigers, we'll end this first part with your Tigers because I would be doing you a disservice in order to kind of let you talk about your Tigers, and KG's Tigers. Is this the year Klubnik takes the next step? Because that seems to be the national narrative. That's great. That defense is going to, keep you in ball games. You got a lot of young guys at wide receiver. You got Phil Maffa at running back. Can the quarterback take the next step? Can the quarterback? It doesn't have to be the next coming of Trevor Lawrence or Josh Boyd or Deshaun Watson, but can he be serviceable and manageable and not make mistakes?
Yeah, and I think first of all, I don't know. I really don't. Right. I got to see it. Because even at watching practice, you have no clue.
No, they're not hitting them.
It's different. You're not hitting them. There's no repercussions for any decision that's made. It's so much different. Now, I will say he looked physically bigger. There was a different level of confidence, it looked like to me, just the way he was carrying himself, the throws, how he was making them. So I have to think that translates. There's also, again, kind of like we've been talking about with these other guys, there should normally be a drastic jump from year 1 to year 2. It's just like normal development, not some super freaky guy, just normal. You usually see that. Yeah. And I think I think it's going to be the case this year. You're in the same offense. You have the same coordinator. You're both going into year 2. You have healthy weapons around you. Knocking on wood, please stay healthy. So that all should be a very big difference for him to where, he's producing. But I think if you just narrow it down, the biggest thing is just the turnovers.
Yep.
Give the ball if you're giving the ball. Take the ball if you're taking the ball, and don't throw it into just silly situations. I mean, that's protect the ball. That's the biggest thing. And if he does that, cuts it in half, whatever you want to say, totally different year. Different year. And I think that, will translate to this season. So we'll see. But to go to the defense, they're going to be good. I mean, those guys are big, fast, experienced. I mean, I was there the other day watching these defensive linemen. Bro, they've got like five stars in the defensive tackle position, just ready to go. Roll out there. It's finally their turn. Rook and Tyler Davis are gone now, so it's finally their turn. And I'm just kind of watching, like, I forgot about these guys. Forgot that they were on the team, and they're jacked up and they're ready to go. So that's going to be really fun to see that defense, especially game 1.
Is it safe to say that linebackers are probably the biggest question mark on the defensive side of the ball?
The opposite. I feel really good about those guys because Barrett Carter, I think, is the best linebacker in the country. And Wade Woodaz is a guy that, he's 6'4", you'll love this. He reminds me of Peyton. The way that he runs.
He's not. I don't need that in my life.
Crazy. Yeah, he's not that crazy white dude. Yeah. He's going to do everything. But body type, you see him moving, you're like, is that? Did he change? What did he transfer? It's one of those type of things. So no, I feel great about the linebackers for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, we just want to wrap up episode 1 here. I wanted to take us around the league a little bit, kind of talk about the top half. We don't really need to talk about the other half. And I'm not talking about that school just out to the west of Raleigh.
Who's that?
So I don't even know what you're talking about. That's right. So we'll come back for episode 2, really talk about the Pack and what Eric expects from them this year. He had the pleasure of being out at camp to do the road show there for ESPN ACC Network. So we'll get into that. But make sure you're following us on all of our platforms. And if you see the word subscribe at the bottom of your screen right now, that means you're not subscribed. So please give us a subscription, ring the bell, hit those notifications, do all that fun stuff. We're just trying to grow this community. And also give my man Emac here a follow. He's on Instagram. He's got great stuff with his fam and all the meat that he makes. He always makes me hungry every time I see that. So
my man.
And he's always on X too, and the most approachable guy out there on social media. So go give him a follow. All right, so we'll come back for episode 2, and as always, go Pack.